After losing the National Democratic Congress parliamentary primaries in North Dayi in 2015 as a sitting member of parliament, he now hopes to secure the general secretary position of the party. Could he be successful this time around? Is the unity work of the NDC an effective tool in the healing and unification efforts of the party? And was former President Mahama's description of the digital addressing system as 419 mere propaganda, or he could be right? My guest for tonight is Honorable George Low. He's a legal practitioner and a former member of parliament for North Dayi Constituency, and you are watching The Hard Truth. My name is Nana Akusi-Samuels. Honorable George Low is here. He's a legal practitioner and a former MP for North Dayi Constituency. Welcome to The Hard Truth again.
Thank you.
But you look obolo now. What's happening?
But at a loss.
You are relaxed.
A lot of people, have said that, and let me admit that when I heard that a couple of times and I looked hard at myself in the mirror, I realized I probably have packed a few
some pounds or kilos. Yeah, so you have to hit the gym soon.
Well, I have a gym at home.
You don't.
I don't ever get to use it.
You need a trainer then.
Charlie, when you
but whichever way you look so well.
If you leave the house at 4:30 in the morning sometimes and get back at 10:30, it's difficult to do gym.
Yeah.
But I'm committed to doing it.
Then don't eat late then.
Yeah.
No wines, no beer.
No. These days I do probably some oats or some porridge.
I see. Good for you.
Yeah.
But you look well. And thank you so much for coming. George, last Sunday, your party, NDC, had a unity walk in the central region, the capital of Cape Coast, under the theme mobilization of the grassroots. Were you at the walk?
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, I was in another region, so I couldn't participate in the walk. But I monitored events.
So generally, what are your impressions of the unity walk so far?
Well,
the three walks.
3 walks have been good. They brought loads of people out there, party foot soldiers, party members, party leadership. It's a forum for unity. It's a forum for people to demonstrate again that all is not lost for the NDC and that the NDC is very much alive.
Is the party alive?
Very much so.
What are the indicators or the proof? What shows that the NDC party is still there and you are strong at that?
Well, our minority in parliament, you hear them from time to time. They talk about national issues. Leadership groups talk about national issues.
Not that. I mean, are Ghanaians accepted, or are we accepting the party? Are we saying that, okay, we have an option in that sense?
Well, I don't think that the time is right now for us to do that real assessment. I think that just like all democracies, from time to time, another party is given the opportunity to come and also prove what alternatives they have. And so the NDC had to, there was a change of guard, and the NDC had to hand over to the NPP. We are using the time to do some real soul searching, and then do what we are calling reorganization.
Before the elections, I think I interviewed you, we spoke, and you said on the show that you're very hopeful that the NDC will regain power, recapture power. What happened? What went wrong?
Well, Ghanaians had a decision to make, and rightly or wrongly, I think that they made a decision. Admittedly, it didn't go our way, didn't go the way we all thought it would. But we cannot fault Ghanaians for taking a decision at that point. There were things that we thought we were doing right. They possibly had other ideas. Ghanaians wanted different things. People had promised them different things.
Right, but really, I mean, you being a former MP and still a strong member of the NDC, do you think you had a stronger message? I can't remember. I'm just trying to figure out, what was it? The NPP had one district, one factory, school-free education. I really can't pinpoint what the campaign message was.
Well, we were talking about developing infrastructure as a foundation of further development. We were thinking that there were policies that we wanted to do to open up for many more people to get opportunities. Basically, that was what the central tone of our message. So you saw that we've laid a lot of emphasis on policies that have to do with education, progressively free education. We were on course building 200 schools. We had done 123.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we had done 123 in various stages. We had several other things that
I don't have the figure, so I'll let you lie on this one. But going back to the works, many people feel that the exercise is an indirect way of, stimulating former President Mahama, his bid to lead the party in 2020's election. Could this be true?
Well, unless the person says that it was former President Mahama who organized the works, there's no evidence to that. It was a work organized by various regional parties, okay? And so, what is the evidence? Former President Mahama remains very relevant to the NDC.
No, but
he's our immediate past candidate,
mm.
and therefore, if he chooses to participate, you should expect that we accord him all the benefits and the respect.
But making utterances like he didn't have a problem with, Sylvester and Spio, leading the party, or, being flag bearers or even candidates, yes, for the party. He didn't have a problem with that. I mean, why would he say that?
Yeah, because it's obvious that whereas we are reorganizing, people have come out to stake out their bid for the presidency. Mm. And he says, look, I have no problem with that. I have been called upon to also contest. I will not declare whether I would or I would not until the time is right, until I feel the party is more energized, until I feel the party is better organized. And so that is it. Those are people who worked with him and who worked under him, And he says that, look, people want me to go. My other appointees, people who have worked, who have appointed at various stages are also coming lay their state. I don't have a problem with that. And if any of them should become the candidate, they have my full support. Right. I think that is the right thing to say, the right thing to do. And it's the right posture to take in a party like the NDC.
But the work we know, it's, aimed at fostering unity in the party. But, looking at all the three works, former President Rawlings was missing. Why do you think this is the case?
Well, I think that former President Rawlings chooses to play the role he wants to play at what time. Former President Rawlings is the founder of the party. Former President Rawlings is he's a chairman of the Council of Elders of the party. And so he attends some meetings when he can. When he cannot, other people chair. And so he's very much a part of the NDC. Like I said, I couldn't.
This project, I'll call it a project.
I couldn't attend.
Well, I mean, wasn't that project, the work project, as important to, warrant his attention to be a part of?
Well, it's let me just say, it's just a walk, right? There are many more. Yes, there are many. We have 10 regions. We've done 3 walks. I hear the next one is likely to come up in Takwa. And there may be more regions. Our real challenge will be going into an election in 2019, heading for 2020 elections. That is when everybody that is when we are in the campaign mood. That's when campaign mood is activated. Now, Chairman Rawlings, for instance, was with us in at our Sherman rally. And he spoke, and so nothing shows that he has anything against the unity works that is going on.
So when he's absent, what do you think? His absence will do what? Or it's okay, it won't affect...
What I'm saying is that at this level, right, for a work, if the founder is unable to attend for one or another equally important reason, I don't think that is anything anybody should take to heart. Like I said, Chairman Rawlings decides to do what he will do at what time. He's an adult. He is it's very much his party, and it's not every family event that your father is able to attend.
I see, but, while addressing the NDC supporters after the unity walk, former President Mahama, made mention or described the new digital address system by the ruling government as a 419. Do you think that, he was right, or he had a point in giving those comments?
Well, interesting. I found that very interesting when people reacted the way they reacted, including the current vice president. This thing about 419 and it's nothing new and that is not the right thing and has been in the public domain by experts who are good at IT. have said that, look, this is a sham, okay? And that what is being presented is nothing new. It's not true that it is the best and that it is better than what you have in the US and as we were made to believe, and that it doesn't have to cost us as much as.
Why are the experts? Why are they?
They are there.
Why won't they show their faces? But that's not the point. Was the timing right? If you want to convey a certain message, yes, you want the media to come up with, oh, the NDC are doing well, they are working together. So was that 419? Was it appropriate? Was the timing appropriate?
Very spot on. You know why? Let me tell you. You see, at the unity work, right? Why we are doing the unity work is to say to our party supporters, right, that, hey, the reason why we must work hard to change this government is because they are doing A, B, C, D, E, F. And so if the digital address system is one of the things that President Mahama thinks that is being used to deceive Ghanaians, he had to point it out.
But George, now no one is talking about your work. I mean, it's dead already. It's gone. We can't remember. We just understand, or we only remember 419.
Yeah, the work is not for people to remember. The work is for people to participate in. And we had the numbers, and that was the most important thing. At least there's a message that came out from the work. You are discussing 419, right? It tells you that, well, the NDC has put out a message that, look, this government deceived Ghanaians. This government gave 15 million cedis of our money to somebody who doesn't deserve it. And that is what he wanted to put out there, and it's out there. So, perfecto.
But the National Digital Property and Addressing System, might have some flaws. But don't you think that basing his description of the system as 419 due to its similarities with the Google map, serves might be, some unfair moves?
You know what? You wear eyeglasses.
Yes.
Okay. So eyeglasses is germane it's all over the place. You could buy off one by the street. So if I brought you one by the street and say to you that it will make you see things bigger, it's the best in the world. In actual fact, this is the first of its kind, what you're wearing. And it turns out that, in fact, it's something I bought off the street. How do you want me to describe it? I perpetrated fraud on you. And that is what he's saying. He said, look, as I say, GPRs and all those things have always been in there. So for you to come and tell us that what you have brought is better than what you have in America, and this is the best thing that has happened to the world and the Ghanaians, it's all not true. And I'm saying that the experts have, day in, day out, validated the fact that it is not what they say it is.
Let's get the words of the Vice President. He said Google will not give the postcode region or district for a particular location. For example, it will not give you the register of address for every user. Banks, for example, cannot confirm an address by going to Google Map, but they can do so through the NDPS for registered users. Now, could this or could he be also right?
Look, I first and foremost, whenever the Vice President talks, I walk away. Because since I've known him as Vice President, he hasn't said anything that is true. I've spent time consistently, I've followed him consistently. He hasn't said anything that is true. So I don't believe him. One, first and foremost. Two, he's not better than the IT experts who are talking about it. He is not an IT guru. Right? We know him to be an economist. Even in that field, he doesn't tell us the truth about his own area of trading. So I am not prepared.
Don't you also think they had experts on their side?
I am saying that.
And they also verified.
I am saying that experts, right, neutral people have come out to question this, right? The answers have not been provided. I've sat on TV with Deputy Minister for Communications. He went pussyfooty and dancing around the issue. The Minister of Information has not been able to explain it away. The Vice President attempted it. It is clear that whatever they have brought in here is not what it is. So
what's your beef with it, with the system?
We are saying that the system that you say you are bringing is not new. Right? And
it shouldn't cause that much.
Yeah, it shouldn't cause that much. It doesn't do all the things that you say it does. So, I mean, look, I think that if I were the NPP girl, and you see, for me, one of the worries I have now, whenever we are saying these things, your program is going to go on air, but it's also going to go on YouTube. It's going to go on possibly Facebook. Millions and millions of people in the world are going to hear our Vice President or heard our Vice President say the things that he said, and it turns out that he lied. or he wasn't speaking the truth. How do you feel as a Ghanaian? That is our worry. We are saying that, look, let's stop these things. Totally, let's stop this. Let's get serious relation building.
But
nobody says that.
Nobody says that. You know, until we get the experts to come out.
I am saying that,
and then bring their facts and prove to say this is a scam.
Naming and digital address for banks and all. After all, it's a fantastic idea. In actual fact, the foundation that they used, some of the streets that we named it, President Mahama himself started it. Okay. Now we hear that there's some committee, including local governments, who did the tree name and things, are now going to sit down and develop, moving forward, certain indices. I'm saying that if the whole thing is not even complete, why do you come and tell us, you know, that you've as it were, invented a new wheel? And for me, that is not truth.
Member of Parliament for Efuti Honorable Afinyo Markens feels that former presidents ought to be careful with his words, and you know, he will lose the respect of you know, being a statesman and being a former president of Ghana. Why do you think you know, this might be the case?
Well, I think that if Honorable Afinyo Markens had some real advice to give, it's closer to him. He should advise his vice president or our vice president. Because I was so intrigued that he chose a forum where we were going to discuss agric, the foremost product in this country, and went and replied to President Mahama. And now the program, whatever we pay him to go and do, none has come in the public domain. He should realize that he's the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, and he has a duty to perform. He is the one who should mind his words. Like I said, I'm a citizen of Ghana. But why is it that anytime my vice president talks, I don't want to believe it? He should do a U-turn. Propaganda mode deactivated. He is vice president of the Republic of Ghana, as he himself said. We would want to see some real decorum. We want to see some real work coming from him. We want to see some seriousness. We want to feel that the monies we use to pay him and to keep him is worth it. He should stop all these hanky-panky politics and get to work. That is what we should be doing.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. You are still watching The Hard Truth, and Honorable George Lowe is still here. George, let's look at the state of your party again. Post Kwesi report, how would you describe the unity, effort within the party, and has it been effective?
Well, I think that what we're doing basically is a reorganization. We believe that people have various shades of ideas in the party and not necessarily a disunity in the party. People think we should handle things from different perspectives. And you know that the NDC is a congress. So being a congress, you have people from different shades of political thoughts who have come in to embrace our concept of social democracy. So gradually, we harness all these ideas and then come out with a central idea. So as we stand now, what we are doing rather is going back to the roots and reorganize our party from the base. After every election, every party will need to do that, whether you lost or you won. You know, the NPP themselves have also done their version of the Kwesi report. Unfortunately, they haven't even released an executive summary. But they are also thinking of they also started their base reorganization. Very soon we'll be going for constituency elections. Very soon we'll be going for branch elections. Very soon regional elections. And then
but I ask because many of the grassroots, were grieved or are still grieved. Do you think that the work is helping? How do you see the healing process? Is it quicker enough?
Well, the work is just one of a very minute part of bringing people together. How would you have felt if all of us went and stood in Cape Coast and nobody showed up? We wanted to see whether we were alive. We wanted to see whether we could organize people. It tells us that all is not lost and that our people may be not, some people may not be too happy, but they are not.
If I put a PA system down there with good music, I'll have a lot of people coming out.
T-shirts and not in coming to identify with a particular party.
See.
So what I'm saying is that for us, it tells us that there are people who still love their party. They may want to see things done differently. Okay, but the genuine love that they have for the NDC is still there, and that is encouraging. So we have now set up teams that should go to the branches reorganize the branches, and move it up and step up, and step up, and step up, even as we proceed.
George, has the report, I mean the Constituency report, has it really achieved its purpose?
Very well, it does.
Why is that?
Because most of the things we are doing are a product of the Constituency report, suggestions from the Constituency report, the reorganization itself, the re-registration of members, and all that are suggestions coming from the Constituency report.
But I really don't know why, can I call it hoarding? You are keeping or restricting the public from having access to the report. Is this doing any harm to the party? Don't you think it would do some harm to the party?
Well, I have told you that the NPP is the victorious party. They would have their cause to celebrate because they won an election. They've also put together a committee that went around and collected data. Where is their report? We were bold enough to issue an executive summary. They haven't even issued an executive summary. So I think that people should be applauding the NDC for doing the right thing. And in any case, the president has just sent a document to Parliament to pass or to stamp the committee of inquiry for the creation of new regions. It's in Parliament. Yes. When they do bring their report, will they give it to you?
No,
they will issue an executive summary. No, they will issue what we call
how many other executives? How many other executives? So if you want something to be known and then corrected by all, why not transcend it down to grassroots? How will they get the message?
I am saying that unless, of course, you want us to print a report each, okay, for every constituency, 270 big. You know how fat the report is, and then if you want to do it for every branch, we have over 22,000.
Why don't you make it public, social media?
Why should we do it? Why should we put it on social media? It is our report. So I'm saying that
executive report. It's not.
It is our report.
Many people haven't seen it. No, many members of the NPP, NDC don't have it.
Do you know the NEC, the composition of our NEC?
I'm listening.
It's a lot, almost 200, 300 people.
It's NDC 200, 300, 500
and I'm saying that they represent various sectors of the party. Okay, various regions.
So why would you want it to be a reported speech? So if I have the documents myself, I can view it and understand the content.
Unless, of course, I'm saying that everybody in the NDC will read it. It's impossible. It's impossible that everybody will have it and go and sit in their room and read it and mark and underline. No, it doesn't happen that way. All I'm saying is that it was to inform the national executives and the party as to the way forward, as to what people's grievances are, as to what went wrong. What did we think we were doing right when in actual fact it didn't work out? Those were the things Kosibochi and his team was supposed to put together. They put it together, they presented it. We looked at it, said, okay, these are the major suggestions from the Kosibochi.
So you know what to do now.
Yeah, so we put it out there. In the executive, the 10-pointer. So it's out there, really. The things that really people must know. It's out there.
Yes, but why can't you get the whole document? Anyway, that's fine. But presidential hopeful of your party, Akufo-Addo, has Dr. Akufo-Addo has, indicated that the NDC is at a high risk of going into the 2020 elections to commit the same mistakes they caused in 2016, if details of the report are kept, among them top officials.
If that is what will make us win the election, great. I'll go look for money, print 22,000 copies. And throw it out there. It means that we are short of 2020. It doesn't work out that way.
No, but let's go what he said. He said it's not enough for national headquarters to understand, or for regional chairman to understand, or for constituency executive to understand it to the largest population of the party.
I don't know if Dr. Akufo-Addo is unaware of the fact that teams have been put together and they've moved from constituency to constituency to engage people on the report. So I don't see what else he's talking about. Because people have been to my constituency, have met executives and some branch executives, and again gone through the report basically with them and taking additional information as to, and every region has had their share. Greater Crowd, Volta, I'm aware of Central outside. So what else is he looking for?
Right, so looking at the comment of Spew, is indicative of a split, within the party regarding who gets access to the report. How extensive is the divide?
Well, I haven't seen a divide. I have seen shades of opinion. Okay? Why? In the NPP, are you not hearing that people are saying if you don't bring Kobra Japan, we are going to do whatever? Is it that it doesn't mean that they are split? If that means that they are split, then maybe you can be talking about a divide. I am saying that in NDC we have shades of, we've always had shades of opinion. And once you are having more than one person wanting to contest as your flag bearer, they come with different ideas. I'm saying that in this particular case, I think that Dr. Spiogabra, either he was misunderstood, either that was not what he meant. But if the words are to be taken as you present them, I think that then he got it all wrong. And I believe that maybe he's unaware that already teams have gone around and that another set of teams will be going around, and that until and unless we engage everybody on the report, and because the report is going to help us correct some of the mistakes that we made. So, I mean, why do you think that as a party we are not interested in going down there to correct our mistakes? If that is what will give us 2020. Reading the report by every member per se, listen.
Is it a sure win? Like
I'm saying that reading the report.
You're talking like it's a super sure win for everybody.
You do yourself a lot of if you don't go into an election.
With a positive mind. I see.
I mean, I think that everybody must, at anything you do, you have to be positive about it.
Yeah, your party has scheduled July 27 to 29th, 2018 as a date for members to be voted in or to elected into executive of the party. Now, do you expect the current top executives, especially the national executive, to be retained?
The party at Congress will decide that. The party at Congress will be made up of people from various constituencies, various backgrounds, former appointees, and all that. They will take a decision on it.
Let's go what Yabwa Tinjan said. He says he feels that all the executives, must go. It's misplaced.
That is Mr. Yabwa Tinjan. He's been there before. He was voted out. He should have a reason why he thinks so, but that will remain his reason. Like I keep saying, if you've gone through elections before, on the day of election, one of the things that doesn't get lost on me is the fact that that person and that person and that person, some you know, some you don't know, some high, some low, some ordinary party members from a constituency, they add up the numbers to vote you in or out. Okay? And so will it be. So, yes, people may decide that, you should go, or that person should go, or that person should go, all of them should be voted out, all of them should be retained. That is people's independent minds. On that day, a lot of factors should be taken into consideration by the delegates.
George, you've hinted that you contest for either the General Secretary or Deputy General Secretary position. Can you, defeat General Mosquito or Akufo-Addo?
Well, interesting. I do not, and I think that
that's if only they decide to contest.
I think that I came out to debunk the way that story was presented. You see, we are going into national elections. Some good friends of mine think I could contest and win and be of use to the party. Some people think that, why don't you go back to parliament? We really need you there. Some people say, and even for the national office, somebody says, we are looking at you as our next communication director. Somebody says, we are looking at you as our next organizer. Somebody says this and that and that and that and that. The decision will be made in 2019. As I sit here now, I think that people...
So you don't have plans?
No, that's what I'm saying. That people
becoming the GS.
I'm saying is that, you see, a lot will be determined. Nobody has even come out to say, I'm going here on that. People hint, but they can always change their mind. General Mosquito, listen, right. General Mosquito is the de facto General Secretary of this party as we speak. He is in charge. Okay? If General will contest, General has taken us to 2 elections. He has experience. He has all it takes to be a General Secretary. Okay? I don't know what is bidding. If he decides not to contest, he opens the floodgates for anybody who wants to come. I
Then
may
you
want to
can
join.
go.
I may want to join.
So if he comes, then you know.
No, I'm saying that I may want to.
You may want to. So what if he decides to
if he
contest?
You see, like I said, I have a lot of confidence. As I sit here now, I have a lot of confidence in General Mosquito. I may not want to contest him. I may not. I may. But generally, as he stands now, I think that he's doing a fantastic job. And we should allow him to work. I think that everybody holding positions now, right, have to hold that position till their term of office ends. As to whether anybody wants, like I keep telling you, we have up to 2018, 2019 decisions to make. I could also pan to
2018 is just
3
months away. But I want to understand.
Yeah, I'm saying that
how good, George, again, is your interaction with the grassroots? Do you have like a connection with them?
Well, what I can say in very simple terms is I wish you were opening food lines on this program. And then you can hear for yourself. I've been to a few regions, or some regions, not even for party business, but I've been so overwhelmingly received.
I see.
And so, like I said, people have different, groups, in fact, groups have come to me to say, look, we want you to go into, to be our next communication because we believe you can do it. Somebody says, we want you as General Secretary. Somebody says, we want you as Deputy General Secretary. In all that, I am saying that we have a certain admonition. Reorganize your party. Because even if you become General Secretary of a party that is not as organized as it should be, where do you take the party? Nobody wants to be in party with your leader.
So which regions and areas do you think you have like a very strong presence and likely to get support?
You'll be surprised that across board. I believe that if I walked into every region, I'll get enough support. But that is not to say that I don't have work to do if I want to contest.
I'm asking because you were defeated in 2015, and because you couldn't convince your own constituency members to vote for you. What makes you very confident that this time around the impact will be great on National Congress?
I'm not too sure about that. You see, when you are a politician, there are things you want to do, there are things you don't want to do. Particularly when it concerns your own party. As I sit today, I don't think that if I went to North Dayi, anybody would reject me. As I sit today, I've had chiefs, I've had many people come to say, look, we want you back. But there were so many things I could have done in North Dayi that I didn't do to maintain myself as MP. But I've also always told myself that there is so much work in the party that you don't need to. In fact, I always say that, unfortunately, being an MP sometimes is even the weakest link in the party, even though they win the seats for us to win the general election. Because sometimes they are even, as MP, you're overwhelmed with just your domestic issues to pay attention to national issues. Sometimes you see an MP, and yesterday I was in Parliament and it was fun. I was just teasing my colleagues. And I was teasing, I said, oh, Charlie, you guys, Charlie, look at you. You look so stressed out.
But really, if really you're coming back, what's the message now? What are you saying to them to convince them that you are the best person for the job? Oh, if only you be coming to contest.
You see, I have always said, and that is the reason why, as I sit there, when people come to me and say, we want you to come back, I ask them for what reason. Because you see, our new MP is just under a year in the seat. You don't expect, if I were there, nobody should expect that under 1 year I would
transform the whole place.
So I believe that, and I've always maintained at every interview that people should give it time. When they do that, they have the ability to do some evaluation. That is it. But as I sit now, my preoccupation is not about party position or going back to be MP. My preoccupation is what role do I play to reorganize the NDC so that we have a more solid. You see, if you have a more solid NDC and you become anything in the party, you are leading the party to victory. And that is what is important. Right. Nothing like what I want. No. I think that whatever you want should subsume under the general objective of winning election 2020.
There's been a number of people who have expressed intentions of to contest the flag bearership of your party. Let's say if President Mahama decides to come back, who would you think is capable of giving him extreme competition? Among the names we've heard Spio is coming, Sylvester Mensah, Babin maybe.
If our election results is anything to go by, he will be different. He's not beatable. He's starting from 40% at least. So anybody coming up will have to play catch up to 40% and overtake. And so it's a difficult task. But like I said, when it matters most, it's the party people who decide. I am only doing an analysis of the situation.
But he's beatable.
Oh, why not? Everybody is beatable at every election.
I see.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching The Hard Truth, and Honorable George Low, former MP for North Dayi Constituency, is still here. George, membership, registration of NDC members will take off this month. This neck of the NDC decided to scrap their current register due to some credibility issues. You have stated that some interesting comments about the register. You said you don't have a biometric register. You said former President Mahama, the National Executive Committee, and Dr. Akufo-Addo, described the current register as a biometric register. So you seem to disagree. Why is that?
Well, not necessarily a disagreement, but I was of the view that the database itself should, if we did a biometric database itself, taking people's biometric fingerprint and all those things, we would have weeded out a lot of the people who got themselves in there. So I thought that looking at the database and how it was collected, it didn't qualify totally to be called a biometric register. Because when you go to passport office and they're taking your biodata, you know that you have to look into some camera, you have to, all that. We didn't go through all the full length of that. So it enabled people to get themselves in there. So that is what I said when I said that.
But really, isn't this worrying after 25 years of existence? The national, or your party, the NDC, cannot boast of a genuine membership register?
Well, it is not about a genuine membership register. What happened was, and don't forget that sincerely, we are the first party actually to attempt to build that kind of database. So I think that we should be commended for it. The NPP, no other party has it. So first and foremost, I think that it's something we should celebrate. The attempt itself is good enough. What happened was that in the process, maybe due to time limitations and all other things, we didn't do it through the right way. We didn't get it right all the time. And so we are saying that let's go back to basics. Let's do a re-registration. I'm sure that moving forward later on, maybe a real biodata.
But really, didn't you spend, because I know you spent a lot of money, a large amount of money on the biometric register, only now to be dished after identifying some challenges in the favor of the manual process.
Yes.
I don't know if the NDC is forward-looking.
We are. You know, the EC spends so much money in compiling its register. And our mode of compilation is not too different from that of the EC. So, yes, we'll spend some colossal amounts of money. But it doesn't mean that when the process is flawed, we shouldn't write it. So I think that what we are doing, first and foremost, is to compile a register that we can call credible. Now, why do we say that the register was flawed? We got situations where, say in a polling station, where NDC traditionally will get 40 votes. And if you follow the trend, maybe 3 elections, 4 elections, NDC gets only 40 votes. Then suddenly you go in there and we go for registration and we have 400 or 450 people. So where did the rest come from? When you investigate, you will find that there are people from other parties who have registered. You know, and that's followed in many areas. That could have, I mean, that's why I said some of us, we didn't want to rock the boat because we're going to a general election. Most of these elections, if we had paid attention, most of these primaries would have been cancelled across.
I see.
Yes. So really, and that is why you find out that for the first time, many people were very peeved with the primaries results. Many people were very peeved. And that's how come we lost so many seats. Because of the way people were peeved. And sometimes it led to divisions because people, and sometimes in a certain area, maybe you are a candidate. Some people, candidates didn't even find their names in the registered statute too. Some people, it looks like, okay, so your whole clan, who people think will vote for you, have not been registered, even though they registered.
I see. So what was the assurance that it will be correct?
That is why I'm saying that now we are doing registration differently, and that is why the team has been put in place to go down all the and ensure that the right process is being followed.
But let's look at finances. Should we or your party hold the current NEC responsible for causing financial loss to the party?
I don't think so. I don't think that. I think there's a party issue. Well, was there a register? There was. The only problem in the register was that we thought that it was flawed. Okay. The registration was not done by NEC members per se. The registration was done at the branches. And people just either didn't understand the process well or people just wanted to manipulate the process. Some people manipulated, some even external forces manipulated, got people to register so they could vote, as somebody explained it, so they could vote out a candidate they cannot challenge. So they will come and challenge whoever is voted.
So who would we hold responsible for causing financial loss?
I'm saying that it is a collateral matter. It's for the whole party, just because then if you are talking about causing financial loss, then you can hold the branch executives responsible. The executive, the constituency executive, the electoral directorate of all the constituencies together, and it's not possible. I think that we saw that there was a problem, and we are. After all, in this country, you haven't even had a whole electoral commission. You have to do organize the district assembly election again. You know how much that cost us.
I see, but in your view, what or under what condition would the NDC find it difficult to recapture power in 2020?
Under what condition?
Yes.
The only condition is when members do not understand that we have a common enemy to fight.
Who is a common enemy?
The NPP. They are in power. We want them out. So we would all have to work together to ensure that the NPP goes out. Because look, some of us get hurt when we realize that most of the things we were doing, some work in progress, some work completed, the NPP come and they are setting their clock back. And it shows that all the sleepless nights that you've had trying to get those things done, zero. And for me, it's a motivating enough for some of us to want to take
but some are saying, no, it's 8 years. So we're doing 4, we'll do 4 again after the first.
That's right. The only good thing is that their mouth doesn't vote.
I see.
People go and vote. So I can sit here. What haven't we heard before?
But
when I hear my MPP friends say the things that I just, I laugh. And yesterday I was telling them, but I said, oh, these things, I've heard them before. We've all said them before. But the great thing is that it's the thump. For your talk.
You're working on the thumb now, but would you advise again, George? Would you advise former President Mahama to stage a 2020 comeback?
My answer has always been very simple and consistent.
Which is?
Former President John Dramani Mahama is an adult. He's very exposed. He possibly is one of the most exposed people in Ghana today. Having been president, having been vice president, having been minister, he's traveled the world. He's participated in other democracies, in elections across the world. He's virtually become like an election consultant now. You know that he was in Liberia recently, he was in Kenya, and all that. He has a decision to make. And he's the best person to make that decision.
I'm asking you, what do you think? Do you think it will be right for your party?
My thoughts are not necessary. What is necessary is that every NDC person above 40...
you want to recapture, I get that, but
Yes.
you want to recapture power in
Yes.
2020. So what do you think? Do you think that is going to help, if he comes back, it is going to help you get
Two
that?
things.
Listening.
Two things. One, I've said to you that when your party is solid on the ground, organizationally, is solid, he has his message right, he has everything right, the person leading it is immaterial. I have said that NPP won an election.
But don't personalities drive?
No, listen, I'm saying that
drive
NPP,
the party.
NPP won an election. If we want to do man for man, I think that President Akufo-Addo would not have won an election. He was carried on the shoulder of the party. Okay? So will anybody who comes with the NDC with the right message and the right organization. But I have told you earlier on that President John Mahama has one thing working for him that the others don't have.
I'm listening.
When we challenge, you remember that when we challenged the NPP as to why are you repeating Akufo-Addo thrice? You know the answer they gave.
Right.
He's known. We don't have to overmarket him. We may even have to use the less resources because when you mention his name, it's top of mind awareness. Okay? People can identify. Old ladies can know that, oh, Nana, yeah, they move it, and all those things. So President Mahama is also coming and he starts from 44%. Anybody we bring beyond him may start from 10% or 5%. I mean, we have people like Honorable Agbagbagbe, who is also staking claim. He's the longest serving, one of the longest serving members of parliament, so he's known across locally and internationally. But he may, because he hasn't had the kind of exposure in terms of presidency. You know when you're president, every evening you are on TV, you are on paper, you are talking, everybody, your name becomes the top of mind. And this President Mahama, this is the second time his name, he had his name face on the ballot box twice. He's had to go to every nook and cranny of this country campaigning, so he's known. People can identify with him. So he's starting as a front runner. Okay? But it's a race.
So that's a yes then from
I'm
what
saying
you're
that
saying.
it's,
So
I'm saying that it's a race. If he's coming, it's a race.
He's known. So it'll be better maintaining him is what you're trying to say.
No, I am saying that he has the advantage that others don't have. The advantage is that he's starting from 44%. Others may have to work from 10% or 15% or 20% or 30%. But the importance of the race is when you finish.
I see.
When I am an athlete, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay? The fact that you are in track 1 doesn't necessarily mean that you can win. Somebody from track 8 can come and take over, depending on how the race goes. So now it's an open race, but somebody is starting as a favorite if he chooses to stand. That's it. I mean, you can't run away from that fact.
But George, it's been 11 months. What's your general impression of the government, their highs and their lows?
Highs, I am still struggling to see the highs. I'm still struggling to see because all the things that have been promised, none has taken the form that it was promised.
3 SHSs has started. 3
SHS didn't tell me that in their manifesto. They didn't tell me that on the campaign trail. On the campaign trail, they said free SHS, universals for everybody, and actual fact that they were going to terminate primary education at SHS. So I don't think that until recently when Mr. Isi Boatin came to, I didn't understand that some Ghanaians were second class and first class. But it's beginning to look that even in the implementation of the free SHS, we decided that some Ghanaians are first class and others are second class. But that is it. It didn't pan out. And with all the problems that we have, children lying in bedbug infested floors in the various secondary schools, some schools that we didn't finish have been converted, dining halls, I mean, that is not what we're promised.
So you don't see any good in this government? They've done nothing to, warrant your trust for them?
Trust, where do I get it? When you wake up in the morning, what do you hear? Vigilantism here and there. People have assumed that the NPP, they must take the law into their own hands. I mean, even if there's anything good they are doing, all these things dwarf it, so we don't even see it. On the economic front, we go and float a bond, and the issues have not been answered up to now. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if your circumstances have been better. Mine have obviously not been.
But you look well, your face looks very well. But moving on,
my face looks very well because I'm a private person and the government doesn't feed me.
I see, but the 2018 budget statement will be read later this month, yes. What are your general expectations? What do you expect from it?
In 2017, I was promised an Asempa budget, and that the budget was bringing good news. As I sit here now, I have bad news throughout. This new one, I don't know where it's going to come from. So my expectations are very, very, very baited. I am not expecting so much because really most of the things that are supposed to have been foundational to this budget have not been done. The indices are not showing that it's been achieved. And as much as we are being told certain things, those of us who understand how the political economy works, clearly, look, go to the bank. They will tell you that they reduce interest rates and whatever. Go to the bank and ask for a loan. And if you get it less than 30%, come and take the money from me.
I see, but the TUC has asked the Finance Ministry to ensure that the budget statement tackles the unemployment challenges in a practical way. Do you see this happening?
Well, if the TUC is telling you that, it tells you that things are not going well. Their expectations are not being met. So we want to see some real action. You see, when you say you are creating jobs, and the way you choose to create those jobs is to say that, look, you are NDC, get out. You are NPP, come and replace him. You, get out. It doesn't mean that you are creating jobs. It doesn't mean that you are creating jobs. So really, that's why I'm saying that for me, all the things, because their manifesto was hinged on job creation. I don't know how many jobs you know that have been created.
Many jobs have been created.
From where? Through which sources? I'm saying that if anybody got a job in recent times, it was because he's MPP and has been asked to come and replace an NDC person. It's happening in the banks, it's happening everywhere, and we are monitoring. I'm monitoring the figures. At the appropriate time.
So you don't see that happening. But finally, talk to your grassroots or talk to your party. What should they expect? I mean, they want to hear something from George.
Well, the important thing that the NDC should know across board is that we are in a common boat, right? And we have only one destination 2020 at the Plaster House. Everybody must put their hand on the wheel or their shoulder to the wheel. Without it, we cannot get there. Without it, you remain a second-class citizen in your country. Without it, you can shout all you like, but the opportunities you are looking for will not be there. Without it, you will feel as dejected as you feel today. So it's a clarion call to all party members. Let's put aside all the other things that we feel against people. Let's put aside the feeling that maybe they've been lost opportunities. I have always said, one of the nicest gospel music I always like. He said, what, yesterday is gone.
They have to do something in my life.
Yes, let's do something new in our lives.
So do we start a campaign now? So vote NDC 2020. I'm just being funny. Thank you so much.
Well,
thank you, George, for talking to the heart. George Lowe is the former MP for North Dayi Constituency. You've been watching The Hard Truth. What do you think? Should President Mahama contest again in 2020? Leave your comments on all our social media platforms on your screen right now. My name is Nana Akusia Kunidra Santos Samuels. Thank you so much for watching. Good evening.